Hello, hello. This is Annabelle and Sarah. Welcome along to Navigating the Shift. We've got just a couple of topics to look at today. The first one is Project Veritas, who was given an amazing video from ABC. Do you want to explain it, Sarah?
Sure. It's leaked of a news anchor whose name is Amy Robach. And she was sort of caught at what they call a hot mic. She was just chatting with the producer in her usual place where she gives the news, right? And talking about how upset she was, how really pissed she was that this huge story she had from 3 years ago about Jeffrey Epstein, and she had an interview with Virginia Roberts, who was a victim of his, and she said, we had everything. We had Clinton, we had the Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, we had photos, we had other women backing her up. It was amazing, and they quashed the story from up above 3 years ago. So think about that. That was during the election. Along comes this stuff against Clinton and all of that, and they won't let it come out. They hid it. I mean, you don't get to be an anchor at ABC if you're completely clean. Let's put it that way. And the thing that, she came across as being mostly upset that her story didn't get told.
I know, and I'm sitting there thinking, my God, you pronounced him as the greatest pedophile in the world, and he is probably continuing on to rape young women for 3 more years, and all you're worried about is that you didn't get your story out. Oh my God. Isn't that typical kind of news people kind of thing? Yeah. Just no idea that the guy can continue to commit crimes for 3 years and traffic humans and whatever. But she's only worried that she missed the story and that everybody else came up. So anyway, it came through Project Veritas, who's become a very prominent whistleblower website. Though it's interesting that when I was watching it on YouTube, you know how they have suggestions on the site, and at the top was the version that came through 9 News Australia. This is one of our mainstream channels, number 9 News. And so here's the 9 News anchor talking about, there's this video that came up, and then she crosses live to a connecting reporter who's in America, got an American accent, and he's saying, nobody really paid much attention to it, but it came through this far-right website, and that's why it wasn't taken seriously, this far-right website called Project Veritas. And I thought, how many people are going to look at that and go, we better not look at it if it's far-right, it's probably got Nazi things on it or something, and and they don't even look at it. And if you actually open the website, you'll see that it has nothing to do with one side or the other. It's about truth, smack down the middle. It's about truth, and here is he talking about Project Veritas being far right.
True, and the mainstream media barely covered it, if at all. I mean, about a few hours after the video came out, I pulled up a Chrome browser, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be right on the first suggestions, right? I had to go down to the 43rd, 4 pages down before I saw anything on it, and it was Fox News. ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, nothing.
What do you think is going to happen to the presenter, though, now that information is out now? Is she safe?
Well, she came out on Twitter and said, this is just a moment of frustration I had, and the reason that we didn't run it was it didn't meet editorial guidelines. Okay, keep in mind, this is ABC that ran pictures of a Kentucky firing range and said it was Syria, right? This is ABC that totally shamed the Covington schoolboys. Really? And this story doesn't meet their editorial qualifications? It is illogical.
Well, it's showing them up, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but we know what their qualifications are. Bashes Trump, right?
Match the agenda.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that Amy said that was interesting was that it said he made his living blackmailing people. He made his whole living blackmailing people.
That's a good insight for people, isn't it?
Yeah. And she also said that she knows he didn't kill himself. That she believes, as soon as she heard, she says, yeah, I know, they got to him. That 2 weeks before he died, they came out and they said he had attempted to commit suicide, and his lawyer said that's not true. His roommate had roughed him up and choked him and stuff like that. She said that was just fake so they could set up for the fake suicide. And I was like, oh, and did you see that there was a coroner, sounds kind of like Biden, it's Bowden or something like that, doctor, who is a specialist, and he's looked at the evidence of the broken bones and crushed things in Epstein's neck, and he said totally not consistent with suicide. It's consistent with being choked.
So I'm wondering, is she being a conscious or a subconscious whistleblower? Would you talk in front of any microphone knowing that everything will be recorded? Would you do that unless you kind of knew that it was likely to be let out? And it's such a hot story, and she would have been frustrated. There was no other way to get it out.
Maybe. I don't know. It wasn't her who leaked the video. It was somebody else, or at least they won't say who it is that leaked the video, but it wasn't her, or that's what they let out. When I first saw the video, I thought, oh, so what? It's not that big a deal. Then I started thinking about it, and you look at who's involved. She was talking about how the palace found out about it
and threatened ABC many times.
She said threatened a million ways. I mean, it's bringing a lot of hard truths out to more of a mass consciousness. People have got to have seen it in some places.
From someone that they trust.
It's going to be one of those things that shocks people and starts to make them realize that all those people you've trusted and you've been taught to trust, your religious leaders, the politicians, the teachers, all of those people.
Entertainment stars as well.
All of that. It's all a farce. And there's going to be a lot of people who are just at the beginning of that awareness going, shit, my whole reality has just been destroyed. Everything I put my trust into is fake. So my suggestion for people, for yourself, as you're starting to go through this process and to help other people, is that you really start as soon as you can developing your inner trust. That's your intuition. That, of course, is to first set the intent. Say, you know what? Yeah, I need to do that. I need to work on this. I need to put some time, some attention into it, and then take some steps. Practice on little things. Just practice going, okay, I can drive home this way, or I can drive home this way. Which way feels better, and cultivate that inner truthometer or truthometer, whatever. And you start doing that, just take a minute and breathe. Put your attention into your bellies where most people feel this. And then ask your body to give you what your intuition, because your body knows, is for lie or no. This is what a no or a non-truth feels like. This is what lie feels like. And then just sort of, it's going to be subtle, but you'll feel it. Most people feel it here. Some people have like a little head movement. Some people have worked with different things. Most people have usually right around your solar plexus. If it's negative, it's not true, there will be a little bit of just a tightening. And then because truth feels light and expansive, so ask your body now, what's truth feel like to me? What does yes or truth feel like to me? And just put your awareness there. And usually it's more like, like if you've been tense for a while and finally you take that deep breath and your belly relaxes. It's going to be subtle, but practice it. Other ways, one way that I've done it also is I will go, all right, I'll put my hands up. Which one? And then I'll just sort of close my eyes and let my hands bounce. Oh, the one that's highest is the one. And I'll do that if I'm using oracular cards, just going through which card is it? Or let's see, which way do I want to drive? Oh, that way. And I close my eyes so you're not consciously doing it. Just sort of think about the question, and you can just bounce your hands and go, okay, which way? And then notice if one is just slightly higher than the other. Little tricks. Do you have tricks?
There's so many different ways, isn't there? If you think about the sixth sense that we're talking about is really a whole group of sixth senses. You've got clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience is how it feels. There's one about smelling. I've had, I think we've explained that on this channel before, about smelling somebody who was cheating or lying to me right then, and it just, even though there was no smell, it was that feeling, ugh, like when you're caught in an elevator with someone who's just dropped a bomb. It's that feeling, but there was no smell. So there's, or you'll get visions of things. You'll get a little picture of something. So I think that being open to many different ways of how you might get your signs is good, but also being able to do that without emotion is so key. I'm finding at the moment, because I've been asking a lot about one particular subject that you know about, Sarah, and that I know my emotions are attached to what I want the answer to be. So it's really hard sometimes to be able to separate yourself from that and say, just give me the answer. No, don't attach. I really hope it's this one over here, because that's probably what you'll get. You've got to be able to just step away and see if you can do it without.
That's why you small things that have no consequence, that you have no attachment to. Another way I've done it really successfully was one time I was thinking, oh, my sister loves to wear scarves, and I wanted to buy her a gift. So I thought, where will I find a scarf for her? And I just got up to a particular shopping center. And I'm like, okay, what store? Okay, down at the south end. All right. And I go there. Oh, there's a Macy's there. It wasn't a shopping center I knew real well. And I go in, and where in the store? Oh, upstairs, in that corner. And I go over there, and I'm heading, oh yeah, that's where scarves are. Cool. And then all of a sudden I sort of just get this sort of almost like feeling like somebody is watching me from behind.
Push.
Right. And looked, and there was this beautiful silk scarf in exactly her colors and the design she'd like and the shape that she likes and everything. It's like, thank you. That's another thing, is when you get the stuff, when you express gratitude, that reinforces it, that helps your system learn to trust what you're getting too. It's giving the universe, telling the universe, yeah, more of that, please.
Yeah. And whether it comes on demand or whether you get the answer a little bit later, that's often the key as well. Not to be freaking out if you don't get it immediately, because sometimes it does take time. Like your example there is similar to my one, where I completely fell in love with all 18th century European court stuff, anything to do with the kings and queens and marquises and all the rest. And I'd heard about how the king used to wear a pair of shoes that had red heels, and no one else was allowed to, because they had very strict rules on that. And I was like, I'd like a pair of shoes with red heels. And then I forgot about it. And then I was walking through the city another time, and I ended up in the middle of a shopping centre that had major construction works on. So it's all like plastic corridors, and you go along here and down here, you have no idea. And I'm like, oh, just keep walking up here and down here and walk over the top of a street. So I'm in somebody else's building now. And I just folded around, and then there they were. There were these shoes. So it's not like you'll always be able to get them immediately. But then I just started laughing. I didn't end up buying them in the end. I just thought it was hilarious that I got led in this funny roundabout way to the shoes with the red heels. So yeah, the answers don't always come straight away if it's not necessary. If it's immediate, sometimes you'll get a push or a shout in your ear. Like when I was test driving my car, and it had taken me a long time to find this particular car, and I got in and we just started driving a little bit, and then I just heard the loudest yes, and I'm like, oh, we can pull over now. No, I better not do that, because he'll be suspicious if I don't actually test drive. Yeah, so I went through the whole test drive, but I already knew I was going to buy the car. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways that it can come to you, but you must practice it, because you can only trust yourself in the end.
Good. Well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Today, thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.